Hi, I'm Eric Burkholder here with Jordan Bradford with Burkholder Wealth Management. And today's video is going to be about student loans
Yeah,
and all that's happening with the forbearance ending and payments starting again. And so it's been a busy summer in terms of action and what's going on. So, Jordan, kind of give us a quick recap of what's happened and where we're at.
yeah. I'm sure you're well aware of this, but about 3 years ago, in 2020, as part of COVID relief measures, the federal government put a pause on all student loan payments, or federal student loan payments, I should say. So anything through the government. That pause has been extended multiple times and is finally coming to an end. So on September 1st of this year, 2023, interest is going to begin resuming on all federal student loans, and payments are going to be due starting in October, which means that starting in October, you'll have your
Mm-hmm.
first monthly payment due again on your student loans. And that will continue monthly for whatever type of payment period that you're on, and there are a lot of them. And there are some new ones or ones that have been updated as well. The other piece to this is that, as I'm sure you're aware, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness plan that was going to forgive 10 to 20,000 per student, just depending on what type of loans and grants that you had.
Mm-hmm.
So that is basically just wiped off the table. So they're not going to be able to like piece together the scraps of it and come back with something slightly different there. Uh, Although the Biden administration has stated that they do have another plan they're working through. I think it's just going through basically like um, a different set of codes in the tax
Mm-hmm.
code to allow them to maybe approach forgiveness through a different lens. This could be great news for you if you are someone who's got a lot of student loan debt and struggling to make those payments. But nonetheless, those payments are going to resume coming up here in October.
Right. Yeah. If there's one thing we want people to take away from this video, it's payments are starting again.
Yes.
It's been a long time. A lot of people out there have at least some student loans, even if
Mm-hmm.
they're well into their career, if they're professionals who have advanced degrees. And so it's been a while, 3 years, over 3 years, and so please get back in and make sure your payments start again in October.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot to that because not only do you need to get back and log in to your servicing provider, you may need to log into a new servicing provider.
Mm-hmm.
So if you worked with like a Great Lakes borrower service, you probably already know this, but they're no longer servicing student loans. If you don't know this, definitely go check your email that was associated with that particular account because those loans have been transferred to a new servicing provider. I think they may have gone to multiple providers. I'm not 100% sure on that, but just be on the lookout for that. You should have received emails from Great Lakes and also from your new provider, many of them telling you that this was happening. But you need to just go in and make sure that on your own as well and just double check that you have all that information.
Absolutely.
There's also, if you were on an auto pay or an income driven repayment plan, or really any kind of payment plan, they have like level payment plans where you may pay 200 a month for so many years, then 400 a month, then 800 a month, and it just increases supposedly with your income, but it's basically a levelized version of it.
Right.
You need to make sure that you're on the right one, that your circumstances haven't changed to the point where you need to try a different one or see if there's another avenue for you. I would not just count on the fact that everything's just going to resume up automatically
Right.
without any of your own input.
Yeah. And
So,
and I would, yeah, as Jordan touched on, I mean, we would not recommend you holding out hope for the government to do this right or to forgive any. Maybe they will, and like Jordan said, that's great for anybody who gets it forgiven. But um, don't wait hoping that will happen because interest and penalties are going to start accruing if you don't get back logged in, get a payment program set back up. And then if the government finds a way to forgive some, great. But I would advise you just assume that's not going to happen.
yeah,
and check out your payment plan. This is a great time to review, as Jordan said, what plan you're on. There's a bunch of different versions, and it's really good to kind of refresh the plan and your personal financial plan and see how do those payments work out, especially the 20 to 25-year income-based repayment plans, which uh, ends up in whatever's left over being forgiven, but that is a taxable event. Right. And so we have actually run projections where that the tax liability on that forgiven amount is more than they paid for the whole, more than the actual beginning balance of the loan. So that is a bad situation to be in, and I don't. Again, don't depend on the government coming to bail you out. And so we really want to make sure everyone is aware of the payment plan, the implications, the pros and cons of it. And so this would be the time to really get back in and make sure your plan is in good shape.
Yeah. So, if you graduated from college around the year 2000, give or take a few years on either side, and you've been on an income driven repayment plan, you're going to be right in the wheelhouse of potentially having that debt forgiven now. And I say that especially because some people may not be aware of this, but the last 3 years are going to count. Mm-hmm. Even though whether you made any payments during the last 3 years or not, and you weren't required to make any, and interest wasn't accruing, but whether you did or didn't, they're still going to count towards that total number of years where you're required to be making payments. Right. The same is true for the public service loan forgiveness program. So again, if you were graduating college around anywhere from like 2010 to 2013, I would definitely have my eye on that, because mm-hmm. if you have been in a public service career that is qualifying, it's possible that you may have entered 2020 with quite a bit of student debt, and you may be leaving 2023 with nothing.
Right.
But you need to make sure that you've done all the applications necessary, that you are double checking that they are counting your number of years or months of service correctly. You just don't want to rely, as Eric mentioned, you want to rely on the government to just handle this perfectly, because if you think about the logistics of this, the government has gone 3 years without basically collecting or charging interest or requiring any payments. And mm-hmm. all of a sudden, it's all coming to a head right here in September and October. And there's new servicing providers. There's a lot of confusion because there were millions of Americans who thought they had their debt forgiven. So it is going to be a confusing time. Don't wait until the day before your payment's due in October right. to figure out why your bank account is no longer linked right. or why the auto draft wasn't working anymore. So you want to I'd start getting in there now. Mm-hmm. You've got right. plenty of time, to be able to do this during the month of September. But just know that, that those payments are going to start in October, whether you qualified for any forgiveness before or not. And as Eric also mentioned, there may be more forgiveness down the road. I would not be surprised if they do try to push through another package of mm-hmm. some sort, because that was a big campaign point. Right. But as we saw this summer, the Supreme Court, did not approve of it. So mm-hmm. who knows if anything will even get passed the second time around. Right. There's a lot of legal hoops to jump through. So just don't count on it, and instead, go to studentaid.gov and double check all the, they've got a lot of good frequently asked questions on there, a lot of information so that you can see, hey, how does my exact scenario apply? It's a really, really good resource, and I would encourage you to go there first. You can create a login too, and actually the login through studentaid.gov will also tell you who your servicing provider is on your loan if you did have one that switched and you can't figure out who it went to.
Yeah. So great advice to get on there now and start looking into it and do everything you can to control the situation, and then we'll see how the government sorts it out.
Yeah. And let us know if you have questions about, what's the right payment plan to do, or whether or not, if you think you qualify for one of these programs, but you're not sure and have just a question about it, feel free to reach out to us. That's what we're here to do, is to to help educate you and get you on the right path. And we know that this is a very large subject matter with a lot of moving parts to it. So
Yeah.
don't feel like you got to do this alone.
Yeah, it's going to be a process, and we're here to help if anybody has any questions or needs help. So let us know, and thanks for watching.